Hello, so in this video I'm gonna be covering Redis using Go, and basically currently in my React backend I am doing like saving everything more or less, but I don't want to save the user authentication token, right? Because Firebase, it creates, let me just show for shortly. As you can see, Firebase creates ID token, and I want to store a user and keep it persistent. Where is it? Keep just authenticate user ID email persistent, but I don't want to keep authenticated token as well as persistent, because that can be considered data breach, and because of that we'll use Redis to solve this issue. So how do we start? First of all, be sure to run docker pull Redis. I think I already have Redis, so I don't have to do it. And as well, docker run. After that one's been installed, you name your Redis. Wait, it's opening. The front end, I mean. Name, for me it's recipe app, so it would be recipes users, right? I already created the container, so there's no reason to. And as you can see here as well is created. You need to create the container if it comes about locally, but I'm gonna have an addition in this video where as well we'll actually, where is it? We'll use Redis upstash, and here it's as well relatively simple. Here I have Go, and I use Redis parser, and if I use upstash, there's like a free tier, and it's quite intuitive, and you'll be seeing stuff here instead of the console. But that is of course based on n variables if given. So let's start. So I can close this one, and here you can see the state is already added as needed even on refresh. If you want to go through that, I can cover that as well on the React side. So as you can see, but now if I make add to yums, it won't work. One thing, because obviously my Go side is not running. Other thing that I do, as I said, I'm not keeping. Where is it? No, this is object. Yeah, but I'm not keeping the authentication token on persistent. So that's going to be handled in Redis part, and that's a lot better and it's like quite fast read-write operations, and it seems a lot more intuitive when saving cache. So where do we begin? I'm gonna start going into my app applications. Applications. I'll be sure to as well, where is it? Use go get GitHub Redis this package. So you would have it, I already have it, so I won't go through that. And I have structured application, and here I have Firestore client and authentication for authentication use cases. And as well I have Auth JVT. Right now I have empty because before I got it from React, pass it as headers, but I wanted to avoid it as discussed. So everything is going to be passed through the application. So let's first off create Fire client it there. Redis client. and it's Redis client. Let's actually put it here, and here I'm gonna be passing Redis port string. So now what we do, we just go here and we have to invoke it. So I'm gonna say a Redis port equals env. Be sure to have env installed. So I'm gonna make get Redis server, or if I don't have it in my env variables that I will not do in production, I will just use local host 6379. That is a default port for Redis, so to say, and you can as well actually see it here, default port, but it as well, I defined the default port for it. Wait, where is it? So if I name this one, I didn't actually finish it, and then I define port, and that's where I set 6379, 6379, right? You can name it differently, but that is relatively defaulted, and once it's created, you start it in your Docker desktop, and then you'll be able to access this port. Otherwise, if envfile, we're gonna be using upstash, right? But I'm gonna cover both sections. So I defined a Redis port get env. I think currently I don't have because it's not in production. So it's gonna use a default localhost now. The next part that follows is actually I'm gonna create Redis client equals Redis client, comma, pair Redis connect a Redis port. I currently don't have the function, but it's gonna come shortly. So basically, if err not equals nil, then return nil. So like that. And now I have get auth. It's inside. Gonna remove the JavaScript. So it's inside config connect. In account keys, I have my Firebase. So now if I go to the connect, I have to create two things. First one is func Redis. Actually, let's try it up differently because I'm gonna create two functions. So now the parent Redis connect port string. I'm passing in the Redis port, and now Redis client, comma error. So as you can see now it's highlighted. Now it should be all good. Application, what is wrong here? In application, oh yeah, and here I forgot fully because I already defined the client, but I haven't passed into the Redis client. So a Redis client equals Redis client. Now it should be invoked, and you can access it in the other sections of your REST API or so forth. So now back to here in the connect section. Let's define our connection. I'm gonna create OK OS lookup env port. Why is that? So it's basically I'm gonna look if it exists, the port. If not, I'm gonna do the following. Client error, Redis client port, okay. If error not nil, misspell, if error not nil, I'm gonna just copy paste. So, and now let's create this function. Usually it's above Redis client port, and now port string, and the other one let's name it env exists bool. So now Redis client. You can of course make it smaller, but I just want to be using like different local environment, locally production without the env file, and I as well want to have like on the public pass service like in Upstash, right? That's why I'm doing this additional step. So I'm gonna make if env exists, then because now if environment exists, I'm gonna use where is it? This code block. So if environment exists, I'm gonna use that. Where is it? So if env exists, opt air redis parse URL. I have to parse URL, and here I pass in the port. Here I'm gonna just copy paste one section. Fail to parse, and then otherwise return redis new client opt, and the other is nil because we don't have any errors basically. So this if exists. Otherwise, when it comes to return not nil, when it comes to Docker, it's more simplistic. Redis new client, add prefix here, Redis options, and now address port password empty db first one, so it's 0. That is as a first argument based on this one. This is a second. Now I would say it looks quite neat, and we cover both sections when it's like locally and when it's in production. And obviously in production I'm gonna add an variable for it. So now this one is being set as needed. Now we're just gonna go here. Now let's check being retrieved. So what's next? Next part is to actually I go into runtime because this upload configuration is being passed into main. So now I go into where is main? This load configuration main. Okay, it's done. And now I run into runtime start. I go into here, runtime base. Okay. Can actually define two things here. Copy paste it for simplistic. So set cache I haven't yet created. I'm gonna create it now. It should be in controller. So now I'm gonna func set cache router gen engine, and second one, client, Redis client. I can see now it doesn't show any errors. In addition, I'm actually gonna pass in Redis client in my main. And why is that? Redis client, Redis client. So why is that? Because as I said, like I wanna manage auth JVT through the Redis, right? So I don't have to do the additional request from the React side. Let's just at first finish with this one. So I think here everything should be done in the base. Your architecture may change, but that's the whole point of it. So what we do now here, I'm gonna create two requests. Gonna just copy paste it. Copy paste. So I'm gonna create two requests, set cache, check expiration. In this video, I'm not gonna cover it, but the basic reason for that is for example, here ape tsx, I have persistor rate, and I want like to set authenticated, and for example, where is it? Store logout whenever the client token from Redis has been expired. But if you want to see that part, just let me know. But for now, I'm not gonna cover that. So set user, I already have, let me close this one, cache. Actually have, let me just start from the beginning. So this one is commented out. And now we go into API. Let's just run func. No, not get. Oh, at first func set user cache. Context gen context client Redis client. You can see we cover it. From the client side, I'm gonna be passing in a user ID. So why not here? User ID, context, query, user ID. So user ID. So if you're curious, I can shortly go through that. Cache token. So here basically as date I pass in, this is cache token. Yeah, this is cache token. So I have set cache, data I pass in user ID and auth token as two basic data. So API cache data. Now I have to create a function auth token there models. So I'm gonna have to add models. Get user cache token context client user ID. Let's just copy this one. Oh wait, it's actually not the right one. Oh, sorry, this is actually for a different function. Let's just create it. Sorry for the mistake. This is to get user cache, because in this here I'm gonna add it. Okay, let's go through this one at first. Sorry for the misdemeanor. Oh, authToken. This one is a little u. Oh, and here I have to pass in a string. Let's go through this later, but now where was it? Okay, maybe air client age get all context key, and let's get the result. Now paste. Fail to get. It's always good to have some error handlings. So now I'm gonna take authToken. Okay. Cache. And here we have to pass in braces because we get the token based on this user ID with that particular ID. And now we have to get authToken. For that, it's quite simple. We just pass in like that to get authToken. Here we pass in another error handling. Paste. If not okay, then return it. Otherwise, return authToken nil. And that's basically it from getting. And as mentioned, we will add it here. Because we're added, I think maybe already can add it in here. This is required for every request that made for get post delete request. So if I go application, so let's just, so now authToken, as you remember, I've defined it here. Now here I have to pass in authToken, go here, go into, name it authToken string, and here I pass in the authToken. As you can see, it's like, quite a lengthy verification. And here I have as well Firebase set ID token, but like this is a lot cleaner rather than making additional requests when doing it on the React side, right? By passing in the header. I think this is a lot cleaner. So now let's go to the other one. So in cache, let's create this function that actually we're gonna call directly set user cache. Same story, context, gin context, client, Redis client. So you can see now this one is fine based on the get request, but obviously we have to create first. So we're gonna use set user cache. We're gonna try that one now. So we're now in server API cache. Here, let's define var user cache models user cache. As remember, I defined here these two. So now error, we have to create actually on Marshall. Do I have it currently? Models cache helper actually. Where is it? I'm gonna copy paste it and go through it shortly. So we'll have to import it. Encoding. So by unmarshalling, because cache data gives back map string, we pass in the user cache as here with a pointer. JSON marshal, we marshal the cache into JSON, and then in unmarshal, we pass in the JSON data that we got from the request from React side, and pass it into this pointer user cache. Now we implement it here. Models Marshall. Wait, I think it's this one. Yeah. So it's a client h get all context key result. So why am I doing this? It's basically if it's already exists, I don't wanna reiterate it, right? And now I'm gonna create if not exist plus nil. Now I'm gonna user cache set cache token context client key return here because I don't need to return anything if it's set, and here I'm basically will be setting the cache. So now cache get user we have, and now func c user cache set cache token context gen context client Redis client, and here I pass in string as well. We don't return anything, but we define the fields. We have a map string. We pass in as an interface value. So here we define user ID, comma, authToken, the authToken, there, client, page set, context, key, and fields. I think I have one too much. And we're gonna handle the error. No, the error. Now we're gonna set a really important expire. Set it to expiring key. As it has been added, I think. Firestore database. Let's see. I think it's already been retrieved, and I have added a new field basically. Let's write here a source. Let's see if it has been added. Firebase. As you can see, there's been new request. Exif now. Aha, here it is. So it had been added. And as you can see, we initially set the user with a cach token, and then here we retrieve it for authentication with getting by the key, and here by authToken, and here, and just to see that it's here, I think it was Redis CLI page get all. I think it was user ID. Let me see the ID. Authentication. Here is the ID. Paste. And as you can see, here is like the ID. And yeah, that's basically it. I'll be sharing the GitHub link in the video link below. And I hope you learned something, and see you in the next one. Cheers.